Have you ever been blindsided by a pain in your body or a sensation of fear that felt like it was beyond you, beyond your lifetime? If so, you could be experiencing the impact of intergenerational trauma. In this video, I'm going to be sharing about my own experience of working through this kind of trauma with somatic embodiment tools and creativity, and how you can do the same while also learning to embody the resilience of your ancestors. Hi, my name is Haley Friend Wilson, and I am a certified embodiment and somatic sexuality guide, helping people to experience a fuller expression of their creativity, sexuality, and vitality. So the reason why it is important to speak about intergenerational trauma, the impact of intergenerational trauma in the world of embodiment, in the journey of embodiment, is because for myself, and I know a lot of the people that I work with, in the beginning of wanting to become more embodied, wanting to go into the body, there can be a lot of resistance, because I deeply believe that we are living at a time in history where there is a backlog of trauma, where we are all carrying the trauma of our ancestors. And epigenetics is now proving that trauma is passed down through our DNA. Also, resilience, the positive things, the strength, the joy, the love, that is also passed down. So I don't want to be fatalistic and say like we're only inheriting the trauma. We're also inheriting the strength. And we in this generation are living in a time where many of our ancestors experienced extreme pain, violence, slavery, genocide, famine, war. And because of that, most of them were just doing what they needed to do to survive. They weren't processing their feelings, their pain. They weren't integrating what was going on. They were stuffing it and doing what they needed to do to move on. And I believe at this point in time, at this point in history, many of us have the privilege and the ability, the time, the tools, the resources to go into this pain. We're not scrounging for our water. We have our basic needs met. And because of that, the pain is at a boiling point within us. It wants to be seen. It wants to be felt. It wants to be acknowledged. And the reason why it's worth going on this journey of going through that is because your power is on the other side. Your gifts are on the other side. The access to the strength and the resilience and all the positive aspects of your ancestry, your lineage are on the other side of that pain. So how does this pain manifest for people? In my experience and those of the people that I work with, it can manifest as a pain in your body that is indescribable, that there's no clear diagnosis for. It can manifest as an extreme phobia of something that feels giant, bigger than your life, and it doesn't make sense why you have that kind of fear. It can manifest as big sensations in the body, maybe when you go into a certain place or a certain environment or a certain social situation. You maybe start sweating or filled with different kinds of sensations in the body that are extreme. It can also be attached to a place on the earth, maybe where your ancestors did experience war, genocide, oppression, slavery, violence of some kind. And the memory of that is actually stored in the earth. And for those people who are empathetic, who are energetically sensitive, they can feel that place in the earth, and that can evoke that pain again in their bodies. I know this is something that I've experienced as an empath, going to different places on the earth and feeling and getting visions of war, violence that has happened in that place in the earth. And so I want to share about my own experience of experiencing this and how I moved through it. So long story short, I used to be completely numb, disconnected from my body. I had no sensation in my body from the neck down. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. I didn't want to feel the pain. And I hit rock bottom enough times to where I said I want to change my life. I started studying and going deeply into somatic embodiment, yoga, meditation, different types of healing modalities: emotional healing, shadow work. And as I began to do this, I began to come into my body, and I found that my body was completely wrought with pain. And during that time, creativity was the method that I used to take that energy of pain and give it a different expression, give it a different outlet. To me, this is the basis of alchemy. You take one thing and you turn it into something else. That was a very powerful experience for me. And as I went deeper and deeper in this journey, I found my teacher, Stefana Serafina, who teaches the deep body model, something that I'm now certified in and teach other people. And I began learning how trauma is stored in the body, and trauma from our ancestors is stored in the body, and experiencing that and living that. And hearing from other teachers like Ruth Gibson, who created Somatic Archeology, these pioneers in the field of somatics and embodiment who were teaching about how, yes, indeed, we do hold the trauma of our ancestors in our bodies. And so I was at a point of experiencing extreme pain in my womb. I was experiencing a level 10 pain. There was no diagnoses for this pain. And so with the practice that I will outline a little bit later in the video, I began going into this pain, letting this pain move me, speak to me, listening to it, letting it have movement and expression and sound in my body, dialoguing with it. And the pain began to show me that it was connected not only to my own sexual trauma, but to the sexual trauma within my lineage. And it was also connected to the sexual trauma of the earth, from fracking, from drilling, the raping and pillaging of the earth. And how I experienced that, just to outline it to you so it's more concrete, is actually going into my body, feeling my womb, letting my womb move me, and then getting visions of drills going into the earth, getting visions of women being raped as I'm feeling this pain in my body. And then a voice, an inner voice coming to me and saying, this pain that you hold is not only your own. This pain is the pain of your ancestors. This pain is the pain of the earth. And I had to believe it. And this is something that I want to say around this, is that you have to believe yourself. You have to believe that this pain is real. And as I believed this story that my body was telling me, the pain began to decrease. And I began to transform that, which I'll share more about other videos. The other way that this manifested for me was when I began the journey of wanting to start my YouTube channel. And I speak about this in my first YouTube video. As I became closer and closer to getting ready to do it, it'd been years of wanting to create this channel. And when I was at that point where it was time, I literally had an immense sensation and fear, a gripping fear, come over me for days in advance that I would be killed. That if I started this channel, I would be killed. It was a feeling, it was a sensation, it was a fear. There was no rational reason for this fear. And so I did my process that I will teach you in a bit. And I remembered that one of my ancestors, Lydia Gilbert, had been wrongfully accused of being a witch and was hung in the Salem witch trials. So I had actually forgotten that. My mom had shared that story with me when I was a girl. I had forgotten that. And I realized that the fear that I was experiencing was that intergenerational trauma of using my voice and being persecuted, being killed. And so I did the process, and then I also created a dance, created a creative expression to break free of that. So now I want to outline what that looks like so y'all can do it for yourself. So first I want to say that this is not the kind of work that I believe should be done alone. It can be very heavy. It can be very deep. A lot can come up. So I do recommend working with a group, with a class, with a practitioner, because it is important to have a guide, to have somebody who is experienced in this kind of work to be working with you. And it's also very powerful to do solo practice. I do recommend doing solo practice. So it's a both and. Get support, have community, have resources, have a practitioner or group or you are working with, and also you can do your own solo practice. On that same theme, if you are doing solo practice, when you are doing solo practice, do not do it alone, in the sense that I believe it's incredibly important to call in your ancestors, to call in your guides, to call in elements, different forces of nature, animals, spirits, or if you work with gods, goddesses, whatever you connect to that is beyond your life. I personally found it essential to call in these forces to move through this with me, because it's too big to move through on your own. So if you want to go into your own practice, I recommend setting a time and space where you will not be disturbed. When I used to do this, when I had roommates, I would let them know I'm going to be screaming, I'm going to be making noise, I'm okay, don't call the police. let me be. So set a time in the space where you won't be disturbed. If you need to communicate to others, communicate to others. You're going into a process, you're going into a journey. And set that sacred space. Light a candle. Call in your ancestors. Call in guiding spirits, any forces or energies that you work with that support you, plant allies, animals. And then put on some music without words that helps you to go inside. And then whatever pain or fear that's holding, whether it's a physical pain, whether it's emotional pain, where it's a mental fear, invite that to come in. Invite that pain to actually get bigger. Exaggerate it with your body and begin to allow your body to move, to shake, to do whatever it wants to do to express that. Now, this is something that your body knows how to do. You don't have to try to figure it out. And the reason why it's the most powerful way to move through any kind of trauma is somatically in the body, is because a lot of times we don't know what happened to our ancestors, but our body knows, our body remembers, our body is holding that memory. And so our body needs to release it. So any kind of repetitive movements, follow that. Let them ride out to their completion. Repetitive movement is extremely healing. So let your body move how it wants to move. Don't question it, just let it go. And then let your voice sound, whatever sounds you want to sound. A lot of trauma is connected to being silenced. So let yourself make sound. And in that same way, let yourself have words. If you want to say, fuck you, get away from me, it's enough, or this is over, or I'm done, or I'm claiming my power, whatever words you want to speak, speak them out. It can also be a prayer. It can be a connection with your ancestors. Like when I did this process with my ancestor, Lydia Gilbert, I spoke to her and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that your life was taken in this way. I'm claiming my voice now also for you. I'm claiming my voice for you too. So speak the words that come to you. And then after you've done your process, do something to soothe your body. Sweep your arms down, hum, regulate your nervous system. Humming is a great way to regulate the nervous system. And then remember the resilience of your ancestors. This is something that you can do even beforehand, is write out all of the things that you know of your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers, your grandfathers, great-grandfathers, of the things they love to do. The positive memories you have of them. For me, my grandparents loved to dance. They were the dance champions of their town hall dance-off. My other grandmother loved to be in nature. These are also things that I love and that fill me. And so remember your ancestors, what they loved. My grandfather loved to sing. So do what they love to do and invite them to do it with you. Like when I created the Instagram reel and the dance, I invited my grandmother in with me to dance with me. So one very important aspect of this that I want to speak to that is essential to do in the beginning of your journey is to validate your pain. To validate it. What we want, how we want to, the healthy way that I've learned to hold our pain is that we do not want to deny it. We do not want to negate it. We don't want to pretend that it's not there. And on the other extreme, we don't want to exaggerate it. We don't want to fall into a thinking of, I'm the only person on earth who's ever experienced this level of pain, or I'll never get over this, or I'll never get through this. So we want to find the middle path between denial of the pain or a belief that you'll never get through it. So we want to validate, yes, the pain that is within me is real. Yes, the pain that my ancestors experienced is real. I have the strength now to feel this, to let myself move through it. And also know that on the other side is my power, that I have the power to transform this pain into my power. And I'm going to outline in another video, what does that actually mean? But this is part of it. Doing this process is part of it, is part of transforming the pain to your power. And then make art. Make art, express yourself. Make messy art, make bad art, make silly art, make funny art, make gorgeous art, make art. Just make art. Art is one of the most powerful ways. Creative expression is the most powerful way to take something that was painful, hard, and turn it into something that is empowering and beautiful. So lean into whatever medium you love, spoken word, music, dance, visual art, theater, whatever it is that calls to you, do it. Express yourself. So to recap, don't do this alone. Have a group, a practitioner, a guide. This is something that I guide people through. You can book a one-on-one session with me. If you resonate with my energy, I'd be happy to guide you in this way. I will also link other resources below of other people who do this kind of work so you can explore, so you can understand this world a little bit more and find whatever group, whatever resources feel the most supportive for you. And validate your pain. Know that it's real. Know that it's valid. Don't get swallowed by it. Let it express. Let it move through your body. Let it have sound. Let it have words. And then embody the strength and the resilience of your ancestors, the joy. Let that move through you. Let that call you forward in your life. And then make art. I hope that this video has served you. And in knowing that this is something that's real, this is something that you can move through, this is something that you can transmute, this is something that you can transform. And doing it somatically is the quickest and fastest and most empowering and fun way to do it. So I really hope that you lean in to this. Know that you're not alone. Feel free to reach out, comment below your experience, questions, anything else you'd like to hear about. I want to acknowledge that I'm recording this video on the indigenous land of the Siletz, Modoc, and Takelma people. It is my hope in naming them that I can give support to the Land Back movement. I will link links below to that movement, how you can donate and support the Land Back movement. And if you want to connect with me further, you can connect on Instagram at creativityAsLove. I would love to connect. I will also cite my website below. You can get on my email list, free embodiment meditation, lots of ways to connect. So thank you so much for being here and taking this in. Wishing you a beautiful, powerful journey into your body. Be well.